So thank you so much. And without further ado, I'm sure you all know him, our amazing maestro, Jose Luis Gomez.
Thank you, Gina. And hello, everybody. Good afternoon in this lovely day here in Tucson, where the weather changes always unexpectedly, not in the raining, but just in the coldness or warmness, you know, the hotness. Yesterday was quite warm, and all of a sudden then it chilled out, which is great, you know, looking forward for that summer to come, which is going to be a little bit warmer. And what is really warm is all the excitement that we have right now in our upcoming season. We're thrilled and excited about what are presenting to you. First of all, I can thank you enough for already subscribing to our concerts. It's an honor to have your loyalty and to your dedication to our orchestra. You know, our musicians are incredibly grateful for all you do for them, and moreover, you know, looking forward in the future for all the great plans that are in place already, and not only this next season but also the next seasons to come. So if without waiting too much and saying any more opening statements, let's go into giving you a little bit of a personal view of what is the season that is coming up starting this September 2022 and going over the 2023 year. So in September, as you know, we start always with a lot of energy and plans, and what translates into our opening night concerts, in which we are making a very clear statement, not only in the opening night, but through the season, about the connection of Tucson with the connection of the orchestra of the Tucson Symphony with its heritage, which is clearly marked of Hispanic heritage, but also with authentic elements of the culture of Tucson and the culture of the community of Tucson, which includes not only showcasing local musicians and you know, local groups that are connected to the Tucson culture, but also, you know, like now I will describe you in the opening, composers that are part of it, of the Tucson history, you know, which is the case of one of the first pieces that we're going to perform. So in this opening night, the theme and the atmosphere is clearly Hispanic, with the Fandango, which is the name of his wonderful violin concerto, commissioned by a wonderful soloist that has been with us in past seasons. Her name is Ana Kiko Meyers. She lives in California, and she's a super famous violin solo. She came here playing the violin concerto of Beethoven and some seasons ago, and now she's coming back with this concerto written by probably one of the most important Mexican composers, living Mexican composers, Arturo Márquez. As you know, Arturo Márquez was part of the co-commission that we did of a trumpet concerto that was very successful with my fellow Venezuelan colleague and artist, Pacho Flores. He back in the day asked us to be part of the co-commission of a trumpet concerto, this time the violin concerto, which was commissioned by Ana Kiko, and to the LA Philharmonic, which happened last year. We're gonna have the first, you know, Arizona premiere of this fantastic piece that was composed a year ago, a little bit more over than a year ago, and you know, Arturo Márquez, not only being one of the most important Mexican composers, he's also from Sonora. So he's from this area, which is close to here. His family lives in Tucson and in Phoenix. So there is a huge connection to the community of Tucson. When last time we played his music, he came to visit us. So we still don't know if he's coming, but hopefully it will be a surprise if he can attend to this wonderful opening night. He's a very busy composer, so we will see. But also we have the music of Robert Buczynski, a composer that maybe is familiar to you because we performed some of his music this last season, this current season that is just ended a week ago. He was a very important composer in the landscape of American composers, and he lived in Tucson, and he composed many works for the Tucson Symphony back in the end of the 70s, beginning of the 80s. And so this is part of a bigger project of bringing his music back and probably, you know, make a recording project of his music. And so we're opening with one of his pieces called Charade for orchestra. It's a very short, vibrant opening or overture. And where we'll play also the Symphony No. 5 by Tchaikovsky, which is It's a 3 symphony part cycle that I started this year with Symphony number 4. So this next opening, as you see, is going to be Symphony number 5, which is one of the most beloved symphonies by Tchaikovsky. Moving on with the next classic concerts, we will have one of our important statements of bringing new talent to the TSO, and in this particular case, is a young conductor called Shi Yeon-sung. She was winner of this Scholte competition in Frankfurt back in 2006. That competition is the one that I also won first prize in 2010. So we share the same background, so to say. And she has been an associate conductor of the Boston Symphony for many years and a music director in Gyeonggi in South Korea. She's from South Korea. And she's making debuts actually in this recent season in many big orchestras all over the US and in the world. She's going to bring the music of a very beautiful connection of kind of bird-related music. So the Firebird Suite by Stravinsky, which is one of those beloved suites of one of the most famous ballets, but also the another suite of another ballet, which is the Mother Goose Suite by Maurice Ravel, which is based on fairy tales. Also the overture of Oberon, the opera Oberon by Carl Maria von Weber, which is also related to something about fairy tales, Midsummer Night Dreams. And Raut Tavara, which is a composer from Finland, a fantastic composer from Finland who wrote a lot of interesting ambience and atmosphere music. And this Cantus Arcticus is called Concerto for Birds and Orchestra. So it's an all fairy tales, birds related kind of a program. And moreover, it's an opportunity to hear the TSO with a wonderful talent of Shi Yeon-sung, an amazing conductor. The next classics is the beloved Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto number 2 with Natasha Paremsky, an amazing Russian pianist. She's based here in the US. And we're going to be playing also the Symphony number 4 by Nielsen, an ongoing project of bringing the music of Nielsen to the stage of Tucson, to the audiences of Tucson. Some of you remember that the first time I came here to the Tucson Symphony, I conducted the Symphony number 2. So this is another of his symphonies that is very famous. But moreover, the first piece of the concert has a co-commission of a new piece written by a young composer from Mexico called Juan Pablo Contreras. And this co-commission is together with a project that is called New Music America, Amplifying Voices, which is a consortium of many orchestras that got together and identified certain composers in that had a special measure to send, especially to the communities of the orchestra that are co-commissioning. So in this case, the big Hispanic influence of the Tucson community is the perfect tie to bring Juan Pablo in and to be part of this co-commission. So it's going to be a world premiere, and he's going to be here for that world premiere. So we're very excited about that. Moving on, we have the next classics in December, which is a fantastic opportunity to hear great American music. So the program itself, it says Voices of America. The guest conductor is a very dear friend of mine who happened to be, and this is a coincidence, he happened to be also during the time that I was doing the competition in Frankfurt back in 2010. That's when I met him. He was in one of the contestants. And he's a fantastic conductor. He's about my age. And he's now the music director of the Omaha Symphony and a great communicator, a fantastic human being. And he will be bringing the music of great American composers, in this case of William Grant Still. As you know, William Grant Still is the Dean of African-American Composers with this work called Serenade for Orchestra. And as well, George Gershwin, one of the most important, landmarks of American music, with his piano concerto in F major. It's going to be played by Kenny Broberg. Kenny Broberg is the last winner of the American Piano Association. So we have a collaboration with them through the years, bringing some of the winners of the competition. So we're excited to bring him to play with us. And of course, a piece not written by an American, but one of the most American sound life pieces ever written, which is the Symphony number 9 from the New World by Antonin Dvorak. So this is a very exciting program that I really recommend you to, not only because of the repertoire, but also because of the wonderful young conductor, and because he's my age, so we're young, and that it's Ankush Kumar Bal, music director of the Omaha Symphony. And later on in January, our collaboration with the Desert Song Festival, as we always do, we bring music that has vocalists. So this time is a duo project that we had during the pandemic that we had to postpone because of the lack of, of the situation, which we could be able to bring the the chorus back. So we're excited to bring the TSO chorus back with the Beethoven's number 9 symphony, you know, the choral. The last time we did the symphony was in 2018, and we closed my first season as music director with that symphony. So I'm excited to, you know, for the first time to bring the chorus back with this amazing piece of music. This is going to be also rounded up with the great music of Richard Wagner with the prelude for the Meistersinger, which is a fantastic overture of, you know, beautiful, bold sound of Wagner, and also the Wesendonck Lieder, which is a set of songs he wrote for voice and piano that has been arranged for orchestra, that is going to be sung by the mezzo-soprano Kelly O'Connor, one of the most important mezzo-soprano voices in the world. We also have Corinne Winters as soprano, and Richard Trace Magor, and Kelly McGrath, who is a dear friend to the TSO, as he was singing with us, traveling Tahiti with his wife, Sasha Cook, back in my first season. Unfortunately, at that time, he had to cancel, so we're excited to bring him back as well. Moving on, another program that is very exciting is this Venezuelan Valentine. So this is another guest conductor that some of you were going to experience. Actually, it was the last program that we were rehearsing before the pandemic. The dress rehearsal had to be canceled because it was during the week that then it was decided to shut down everything because of the COVID pandemic. So we're excited to bring Manuel Hernandez Silva back. He's a dear friend, conductor from Venezuela that has been, you know, conducting many orchestras all over the world. Right now, he's the music director in the Orchestra of Navarra in Spain. And he's bringing another Venezuelan friend of mine who has been here with us that I mentioned before, Pacho Flores. He was supposed to be opening our season last season, but he was, you know, due to all the difficulties of traveling and the restrictions that were so crazy because of COVID, we couldn't bring him. So we're excited to bring him back. And this program will have that flair of Valentine's Day with a twist of Latin American feel. So we have the Bernstein Symphonic Dances of West Side Story. West Side Story, one of the most important, iconic, you know, musicals that recently has been brought back to the film with a remake done by Steven Spielberg that I'm sure some of you have watched already. That symphonic dances have a twist of Latin American, you know, flavor because, you know, they have that famous mambo, for instance. But also we have the music of Roberto Sierra, which is a concerto that Pacho commissioned. Roberto Sierra is one of the most important Puerto Rican composers, and he commissioned this concerto through the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic in England. So we're going to be doing, the concerto was already premiered in England. Now we're going to be doing with him the US premiere of this concerto. So this is a great, exciting opportunity to listen to a very virtuosic piece by Roberto Sierra written for Pacho, as well as one piece that he wrote, a little waltz, Venezuelan waltz called Morocota, which is a very sweet piece that he wanted to play with us always. We also have the Moreno Buendia Boceto Sinfónico. Moreno Buendia is one of the most important deans of contemporary music from Spain. So this is a choice that Manuel is bringing to us to experience music from Spanish composers. And to round up the Venezuelan Valentine, in this case, it's not going to be a Venezuelan composer, but it's going to be the Russian composer Tchaikovsky, you know, with the fantastic fantasy Romeo and Juliet. And the Venezuelan twist is going to be given with that passion by Manuel Hernandez Silva. And I know you're familiar with some of the passion for Venezuela, I hope, by my own interpretations. Later on, we're going to go and do one of the programs that we're very excited when we were building it, because it has that element of trickstery, if you want to say, because all of the pieces are speaking about that kind of, you know, characters that are always, you know, making a little bit of tricks and kind of wicked in a way. So in that case, we have the figure of Don Giovanni with the overture by Mozart, that figure of that impossible to control Casanova, so to say, someone that was, you know, in a way always known to be a charmer. The Paganini Concerto number 1. So you know that Paganini had that kind of, you know, legend that he had a pact with the devil, and that's why all his pieces are so difficult, and he just brought the violin, you know, to a different level. So that's something that always all violinists, we say, you know, thanks to Paganini, is that we have the development of the violin right now. The Violin Concerto number 1, which is a very, very difficult piece, is going to be played by Kerson Long, a fantastic young gentleman from Canada, and he will be playing this very, very challenging violin concerto. And in the second half, continuing that, you know, trickstery kind of a theme. We have the Sorcerer's Apprentice, a fantastic piece by Paul Ducasse, a fantastic French composer that wrote this kind of fantasy based on that wonderful ballad by Goethe, and the Richard Strauss Till Orange Spiegel Merry Pranks, which is one of those pieces that also talks about this tricky personage from the Germanic culture called that is Till Orange Spiegel, that he's always going in the town doing things. And this is actually the first time that the orchestra is playing this piece in many years, and it includes a lot of virtuosism from the orchestra. So it's a very exciting program of orchestra virtuosism plus the virtuosism of the violin. And to end the season, we are coming back with another duo that we had, which was the Symphony No. 2 by Gustav Mahler, called The Resurrection. As you remember, we were going to play this symphony during the closing classics of the 2019 and 20 season, but we had to cancel it due to the pandemic. So we're bringing this back with the same singers that we had. Gladly, all the schedules were aligned. So we have Kalina Sif, so wonderful soprano that some of you remember. She sang with us the Symphony No. 3 by Leonard Bernstein called the Kaddish, and that was also during my first season as music director. And Emily Marbosch, a contralto that sang with us in the past before my time. I think she sang the Mahler Symphony No. 3, fantastic contralto. There's going to be another opportunity to bring the chorus back, and it's one of those symphonies that you want to hear every time, because it's a monumental piece, but also very uplifting and beautiful. And that concludes the classic series. We have the Masterworks series, which is always that series that we always enjoy because of the nature of the repertoire, the size of the orchestra, but also the venue where we play, which is the Carolina Foothills, with these very warm acoustics. In this case, we have a program that was partly planned during the pandemic as well, with the violinist from Spain called Francisco Fulana. And Francisco is a dear friend. We have performed together many times, and we're excited to bring him to Tucson finally with one piece that he was actually nominated to the Latin Grammys. He made the recording of the Vivaldi Four Seasons Recomposed by Max Richter. Max Richter, an American composer, and this Four Seasons Recomposed is an amazing treatment of Baroque music with a twist of more contemporary music. It's really exciting way that he created this combination. It's like seeing the music of Vivaldi with contemporary eyes and keeping that essence of that fantastic Four Seasons. Also during that program, we have the music of Robert Muczynski, as I said before, as a part of an ongoing project of bringing his music back with the Serenade for Summer. It's a beautiful piece for chamber orchestra. And the Symphony No. 64 by Haydn. We all love Haydn, and this particular symphony called Tempora Mutantur, which means time changes, is very well connected into the theme of the season. So you have the Serenade for Summer, you have the Four Seasons Recomposed, and Tempora Mutantur, which is that theme of, that time changes and we cannot do anything about it. So it's a very poetic kind of a program that also includes a wonderful friend, a violinist, that is going to be our artist in residence. As you know, he will be curating some of the chamber music programs that we'll be doing during the season. So stay tuned for that, the up close programs, because it's going to be deployed very soon, and with all the information of those exciting programs that I know you love that we do at the Symphony Center. Moving on, celebrating women in music. This is a very exciting program with another debut of a very, very young conductor. Her name is Holly Hyun Choo. She is originally from Korea, even though she moved to the US and lived with her family in California. Now she's living in Zurich because she's the assistant conductor of a Zurich Tonhalle, whose music director is my former mentor in conducting, Paavo Järvi. And this was a recommendation, and a strong recommendation by him of a young conductor that he believes very much so, as he believed in me. And so we're excited to give her a debut here. It's going to be her US debut. She's going to be performing alongside with Alana Wiesing, our beloved timpanist from the TSO. So you will get a chance to see Alana in the spotlight. She's always in the spotlight. I know when she's playing with us in the back of the stage, but this time you're gonna see her up front with the Werner Terichen Timpani Concerto, a very virtuosic concerto for timpani. And also we're gonna be showing music by great female composers. So it's the case of Fanny Mendelssohn Hensel. Fanny is the sister of the famous Mendelssohn that we know, the Felix Mendelssohn that we just played a week ago. And also we're going to be playing the music of Jessie Montgomery, a living, young, and upcoming star of composing of here in the US and in the world. This piece called Strum is a fantastic piece that has been performed by many, many orchestras here in the US and beyond. And to close the program, we have the music of Beethoven, the Symphony number 7, which is a fantastic symphony that we always love to see and listen. Later on, we're giving a spotlight to the TSO principals with a fantastic program that includes the concerto for woodwinds, timpani, percussion, and strings. So this is a kind of a visitation of a concerto grosso. So, you know, like in the Baroque times that they had this kind of a multi-instrument concertos, you know, for various instruments. So in this particular case, Frank Martin, a Belgian composer, wrote this fantastic piece. And this is a great opportunity to see our principals, you know, spotlight, shining in the spotlight. We also have the music of Schubert, which is an ongoing project of doing all the Schubert symphonies. You know, we just did number 9 a week ago, and this is going to be the Schubert Symphony number 5, which is probably his most charming symphony and very fresh. And also we have a fugue by Bach, arranged by a wonderful composer of the 20th century, Gustav Holst, you know, the composer of The Planets. The famous piece that he wrote was The Planets, but he did a lot of arrangements of music by Bach. And the reason why we're doing this is also because the next piece is a piece by a Venezuelan composer that was writing in the style of Bach. And he wrote this beautiful fuga criolla, which means it's gonna be a fugue that sounds like Bach with a twist of Venezuelan rhythms and music. So it's a very good first half of kind of playing with the music of Bach with a different twist. Later on, we have the music of Schumann and Mendelssohn with a superb guest conductor and an amazing guest artist in the piano, Michelle Kahn. She's an upcoming young artist that is just playing in amazing debuts all over the US and beyond. She's going to be conducted by Perry Saw. Perry had his debut with us a few years ago in the classic series, so we're excited to bring him back conducting this program with music by a very interesting Italian composer called Luigi Dalla Piccola. He's a composer from the 20th century. He wrote this very atmospheric and beautiful atmosphere related and beautiful Little Night Music, it's called. And that marries very well with the other piece in the program, which is the Symphony number 4 by Felix Mendelssohn, the brother of Fanny Mendelssohn. And this is one of his most beloved symphonies called The Italian, which was based on themes from Italy when he was visiting Italy for some time. And the Schumann Piano Concerto, one of the most beautiful piano concertos written for the instrument. So it's going to be played by Michelle Kahn. So this is an amazing setup of great music in a concert. And to close the Masterworks season, so the Masterworks series, sorry, we're also doing something special. We are bringing a composer from here. I mean, he's not from here, but he's been living here in Tucson, Vincent Caliano. He's our advanced level teacher of the Young Composers Project, and I'm sure some of you are gonna go to visit our readings upcoming in these months of May. And he wrote this fantastic piece that has an amazing title, The Facts and Dreams of the World According to Michael Jackson, which is, you know, in his own translation, I mean, you will have a chance to hear from him when we will do the pre-concert talk, but it's not music of Michael Jackson, basically. You know, the title is just, it's something that inspires, you know, the work itself. And this is the same case of Ravel, Le Tombeau de Couperin, which is, you know, it's nothing Baroque about them, but it's just pieces that he wrote inspired on the style of Couperin, but to dedicate to some of his friends and that died during the First World War. So these two pieces are a little bit in my intention of an idea of having titles that they don't really reflect exactly what the music is going to be, but the titles complement what the music is going to be in a way. So this is a very interesting first half of great music. And to conclude, we're going to be playing the Symphony number 6, called the Little C Major. You know, we've played this last weekend, the great C Major, number 9. So this is another of the charming symphonies of Schubert, the number 6, called the Little C Major. And moving on to the specials, you know, this year we couldn't have all those special concerts that we all normally had. So we're coming back to bring them back to the season. This is a very exciting evening. We have the music of a great composer, you know, from Russia, Tchaikovsky, the Swiss Swan Lake, and also the Violin Concerto, which is one of the most beloved pieces. But not only the music here we're talking about one of the most important figures on violin playing right now in the whole world. It's Hilary Hahn. She's American, and she's probably, in most of us as violinists' opinion, one of the best violinists ever right now. And we're excited to, you know, to have her back. She was in Tucson many years ago. So right now we are excited to be able to have her back and have this wonderful concert, which is going to be also complemented with the music of Peer Gynt, the Suite number 1, which is, you know, a great incidental music to a fantastic play written by the Norwegian composer Edvard Grieg. Another special is a very special event that is connected to the week before we do our opening, and it's connected to one of the most important things that we want to do in our season, which is, as I said at the beginning of the conversation, that we want to connect with the culture of Tucson and make this orchestra resonate with all the culture that Tucson has. And this particular program, we're going to do that together in one program, which is the great heritage of Hispanic heritage that we have in Tucson and the connection to Mexico. This is through one of the projects that we were really much looking forward to do. It's called The Magic of Mexico, and it's a multimedia project in which you will hear the music of, you know, Arturo Márquez, Pablo Moncayo, Silvestre Revueltas, probably one of the most important Mexican composers, and it's all the music is going to be complemented with great images done by a fantastic photographer and multimedia artist called Nicolas Bardonnay. Nicolas was here when some of you remember when we did the Grand Canyon Suite program. So he's the artist who did that fantastic program. So he's the one curating this one. So it's a great opportunity to listen to powerful and great music from Mexico, with all the pictures and all the inspiring, you know, elements of the Mexican culture that are also part of the Tucson culture, very much so. And in the second half, we were going to have one of the most important right now bands of Tucson that are in the Tucson alternative, let's say, scene. Their name is Orchestra Mendoza. So that's the other part that we want to bring, not only the heritage, but also the actual essence of Tucson, in the essence of his music. They are super well followed by people here in Tucson and beyond, and they're defined as an indie kind of indie Latino punk band in a way. So it's like a combination of all of these great things, and they're excited to be in on stage with us. And we're excited to have in our audience, you know, a mixture of new people and all of this kind of, you know, eagerness to listen to something different. So this is a very good example of where we want to get. You know, we want to reach out to everyone in the community. And another special that follows this one is the great music of a fantastic and sweet and beautiful film. If you haven't seen it, I recommend to see it, but see it with us playing the live music. As you know, we do this with the music of Star Wars, with the music of Harry Potter, but this time we're going to do it with this fantastic Pixar movie called Coco that talks about one of the biggest traditions that also Tucson has, which is the All Souls procession. And so there is a connection, a very natural connection that you will see in this film with the culture of Tucson. So we're excited to do that. This is going to be during the month of November, so during the dates of the All Souls processions area. And later on, another of the Tucson traditions, but in this case, you know, it's based on that beautiful work of Messiah by Handel. So again, we're going to be bringing not only the Messiah selections with the chorus, but also some other, you know, related music to the holidays, but in the classic setup, you know, in the kind of more classical music set up. So we're going to have music by Mozart, music by Benjamin Britten, music by Vivaldi as well, which is going to feature Lauren Roth as a soloist. So one of the seasons by Vivaldi, the winter. So come to this concert, because it's going to be, again, a mixture of your favorite Messiah, selections with soloists and orchestra, but also in the first half, a lot of related classical music from the holiday kind of inspired element. And another holiday program that we are very excited about is this next one that is called Happy Holidays, Feliz Navidad, which is what it means in Spanish. And the reason that we're using the two titles is because we want to recreate a kind of a celebration of all the culture of Tucson together for Christmas. So in this particular case, we're gonna have our symphony orchestra, our symphony chorus, but also the Tucson boy chorus and the Tucson girls chorus, and they'll be singing, and we will be playing together with them music that relates to the Hispanic heritage, Mexican heritage, English heritage, everything all together. So we celebrate Christmas in the broader spectrum what Tucson represents. All of this is going to also be together with a project that we're developing with one of the most important traditions of Tucson called Las Posadas. So we'll be implemented this beautiful tradition also in this concert. So this is a celebration of Tucson holidays that everyone is invited and to enjoy. And that moves into the pop series as well. As you know, we are bringing the pop series back, and we have great elements, to bring the pop series back. In this case, the music of the Beatles. And this is not only a program that includes the music of the Beatles, but it will include some multimedia elements also, in which you will get a lot of, like Carol says, it's a symphonic experience. You will get a lot of, of things, out of the Beatles, not only with the music. And I know the Beatles is just beyond, the music. It's just something bigger than even their title is themselves. And we have the music of Big Martini. It's a fantastic band. Last time they came, I conducted them, and it was a lot of fun. They are, again, they represent many things on stage, and that's great because it's multicultural what they do. It's not only Latin American music, but also they do, some kind of beautiful music from the old time in France, or some beautiful music even from Japan. So it's a very exciting setup that they always bring to the stage, and together with the symphony, it's a joy to have them there. Very successful. And this is a very exciting program too that connects to our mission of reaching out to the Hispanic community here in Tucson. It's called Latin Fire. And this is great because this program is going to be conducted by this young man with the kind of purple jacket that you see in the picture. His name is Enrico Lopez Yanez. He's right now the pops conductor at the Nashville Symphony Orchestra. He's a Mexican, and he designed this whole program, which will include a fantastic singer and a fantastic trumpet player, and it will have all of those elements of Latin American music. It's a program to go and dance. And later on, we will go on with the music of a very well-known American composer, probably one of the most important because of his affiliation to great movies, is the music of John Williams. So we're going to be celebrating, his great music with a lot of great, soundtracks of the most famous music. I'm going to be conducting that program, so I'm very excited because his music is amazing to conduct and to play. And I think that's it. That's what we have in our Classics, Masterworks, and Pop series, and there's much more to come because, as you know, we have our chamber music series as well that is going to be deployed very soon for you to know all the details and join us, and of course our education programs and so on. But this is the big chunk of the things that I know you love to attend, and I hope this presentation helps you to know a little bit more of what lies behind of all the great artists and repertoire that we're performing.
Thank you so much. And I was reminded to tell you, if you have already subscribed, but you have been inspired to add something else, if you want to add another series, you can call the box office and they will help you. If you'd like to add specials, you can do that right now. You will not want to miss Hilary Hahn or really any of our specials this year. And if you're interested in just single tickets, we have subscriber month in July, and that's when you can buy single tickets for any of the other concerts before they go on sale to the general public. So we did have a really fantastic question that came in that I want to ask the maestro. And then if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will pick them up from there. So this is a really great question. And actually, it's one we get fairly frequently, which is, what are the entities and considerations for deciding the repertoire of TSO concert series and special events? And who has the final authority over it?
Yes, it's a fantastic question, very well written as well. So my title as music director and conductor, the music director part of my title implies that I am the one curating not only the overall elements of a season, but also the overall elements of decisions that I'll be conducting during my years as a music director. So that means that I am the responsible part of connecting all the dots with pieces, but I don't do this alone. I do this together with for instance, with a program advisor committee from the musicians itself. Actually, we had a meeting yesterday to talk about 23-24, and they give some suggestions for the musicians of wishes of artists, of repertoire to play. And you'll be surprised that most of the time, some of them align with my ideas as well of what I want to do. So we listen to also to their suggestions of artists and repertoire, and also our department of artistic planning, which is presided by Pat Joseling, and also together with the artistic operation manager Ben Nisbet. We sit down and we have a conversation about all of the how to pace and divide all of the things that we want to do during the season, but also moreover, what do we do in seasons over. So the final word obviously has to come with me as a music director, but what I try to do is I try to bring to the table all the ingredients and see how they shape, not how they shape, but see how they align with the shape that I want the orchestra to look like, in the next years to come. So it's not a process that starts and ends when you're planning a season. It goes beyond. So as you know, or maybe you don't know, we're already planning 23-24, and at some point we're going to start planning also the year after. So it's a process that goes very fluently, but that has many actors. But let's say one of the principal actors, because of the nature of my title, has to be putting the final stamp to it.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions that you'd like to ask? You can put them in the chat. We can ask the maestro while we have him here. We are grateful for his time on this crazy end of the season.
Yeah, Sarah Mendoza is asking if we can share the recording of this conversation, because she arrived.
And I will. So I'm hoping to get it posted. If not, you can always email me. My address was on the email, gcompatello@tucsonsymphony.org, and I'm happy to get you copies of that. I think a question that I also hear that I'll ask on behalf of all of us is kind of what's the most, I know you talked about the process of planning, but when are the moments where you get really excited in this season? Is it, you find a specific piece that you love, or there's a guest artist? Like, what are those moments of joy for you?
Well, it's a simple question. It's a very simple question with a simple, very answer. I think every single program is very exciting, and I really mean it, because the fact that you have a chance to explore different repertoire, but also explore different musical experiences, because this is what we're trying also to do with this with the season. We want to create experiences that are exciting, that are so kind of inspiring also for the people who comes to join us on the music stage. So it's more than just the performance. It's about the whole experience itself. So I would say every program. It's true that the opening nights of the season are very exciting always, but I would say every single program has its own flavor and its own importance and its own exciting moments.
Sarah wanted to add to thank you so much for a wonderful 21-22 season, and super excited for 22-23 with TSO. I think Sarah speaks on behalf of all of us. I know it is for us on our side at the staff level. We have been so happy to see all of you in person this year. It's been just such a wonderful moment to come together again with this amazing live music that that is here in Tucson and belongs to our city. And we cannot wait for this return to a full season. It's going to be glorious. I know we're biased, but you're going to love it. Tell your friends, tell your family. It is a truly not to be missed season at the TSO. Amazing music director and maestro, amazing orchestra. And then we're just going to be joined by really fantastic people from all over the world coming here. I'll put in one last plug since it wasn't in the presentation. In the brochure, you probably saw we are also working with Ballet Tucson this year to perform the Nutcracker. Very excited about that. That's another special you can actually add on with our box office if you're interested in that. So as Stanley says, thank you. Thank you, Stanley, for being part of our community. Thank you, all of you. If there's no further questions, we will end it, but thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of our community. If you ever have any questions, you know you can reach out to our fantastic box office staff. You can always email or call me as well. And we appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. And we will see you back at the music hall or soon for the Young Composers Project.
Exactly. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Gina.
Thank you.
See you soon.